All right, hello, grade 10s. So this is our first sort of online lesson, and bear with me, it might take us a bit of time to kind of get used to it and to figure out how things are going to work. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is whenever I do post one of these, I will beforehand post the handouts, or at the same time post the handouts in the classroom. So right now, if you go to our classroom and click on first and second differences, you'll see the handout is there twice. It's there as a Word document, and it's also there as a PDF. So if you click on the Word document one, um, it'll come up in a not very useful way. But if you click the three dots and click Open in a new window, you're now going to have a couple of options. You can either open it with Google Docs, or hopefully you have this option too. You can open it with DocHub. So if I open it with DocHub, I want to show you this because I think this might really help a lot of you. I mean, if you can print the handout, by all means print it. It'll probably be a lot easier. But if you don't have a printer, like I don't have a printer, you can come into this DocHub program or possibly Google Docs. And if you click on this pen here, you can see over here I have a text color. I can change it to black. I can make the pen really big, which is not going to be very useful. I'm going to Control Z to undo that, or I make the pen very small. And then in here, I can write whatever I want. Okay, so just like that. And then at the end, I can download this, and it will save all of my notes. And then you can have sort of a digital version. So, and by the way, to erase, I don't really know, to be honest. I'm just kind of figuring it out right now. I'm just going to Control Z. You guys will probably be a lot better at this than I am. So let's get back to the lesson. So feel free to follow along. Maybe you want to like drag a window over if you're on a computer. I'm not sure what kind of computer you're on, but you can drag that over to the side. And then on the other side, you can maybe have my video, so you can do both side by side, whatever works for you. But I'm going to make this big so you can see it nice and big. All right, so again, like I said, it'll be a learning process for myself and obviously for you as well. But let's go ahead and get started. So we are starting a new unit, which I think is kind of good for you because when you start a new unit, it means you start at the very bottom. So there's not a lot of stuff you need to know coming into this. I'm not building off the last unit. I was supposed to, but I've skipped a unit just to make it easier for everybody. The unit is called Introduction to Quadratics. Now, you probably don't know what a quadratic is. And that's what we're going to get started on today. And even today, you might not really know what one is by the end, but we will go ahead and get started anyway. So at this point, everything that you see on my screen should be in your handout. I'm trying to make this as straightforward as I can. This is something you might remember from grade 9, the first differences. So the first differences are basically the differences in the y values in a table. Okay. Now, what's important to check first is that the x values go up by the same amount each time. And in this case, the x values always go up by 10, so we're good to go. Now, to do the first differences, we find out how do we get from 15 to 25. Now, a lot of you can probably say, oh, you go up by 10, which is true, but what you can also do is to get the first differences, it would be 25 minus 15. So what I did is I took the bottom number and subtracted the number above it, and I got 10. And I don't like that first equal sign. I'm going to get rid of that. All right. Now for the next one, I do the bottom number. So 35 minus 25. 35 minus 25 is 10. Okay. And obviously I knew that, but I'm just showing you that there's a calculator probably on your computer somewhere. You can find one if you don't have one. Or use your phone. I can't stop you. All right, so for the next one, we do the bottom number, 45, minus the number above, which is 35, and we get 10. And finally, we do 55, minus 45, and surprise, surprise, we get 10. Okay, so the first differences are all 10 for this. And maybe you remember what that means. If you don't, if these first differences are all 10 or all the same, it means that this is linear. It means it goes up by the same amount every single time. So it's kind of like a staircase where each stair goes up by the same amount. So this is linear. And that is review from grade 9. All right, second table, here we go. Now, things are going down. They're a bit trickier now. So I'm going to use the method that I showed you on the previous slide. and that is 9 minus 10. I do the bottom minus the top one. Feel free to increase the playback speed if you're finding this very easy. 7 minus 9 equals negative 2. 4 minus 7 is negative 3. And 0 minus 4 is negative 4. Okay. You might have noticed the first differences are not all the same, so it's not linear. And some of you might have even noticed the pattern here. Okay? The first differences are kind of changing by about the same amount each time. And that's really what today is going to be about. I'm hoping you find today to be easy, to be quick. We're just kind of getting started, so I'm going to try and take things pretty slow. Okay, so back onto the handout still. What I would like you to do now is we're going to add a little bit to this. We've done first differences. You did them in grade 9. We just did them again. Now we're also going to do second differences. So I'm going to try to get you during these videos to pause at certain points and try something by yourself. So what I would like you to do right now is to figure out these first differences from these y values on your own. So I encourage you to pause it and try that, and then unpause it, and then you'll get to see me do it. So pause it now. Well, I'm sure you all didn't pause it, and if you did, hopefully you get the same answers that I'm going to get. And some of you probably didn't show your work. I encourage you to do that, because when there's negatives, it does get tricky. So the first difference is I do 2 minus 0, and I get 2. And then I do 8 minus 2, and I get 6. And then I do 18 minus 8, and I get 10. 10. And then I do 32 minus 18, and I get 14. And then I do 50 minus 32, and I get 18. Okay, so the first thing you should probably notice, the first differences are not the same. This is not linear. But there's this whole other column here for second differences. And for the second differences, what I want you to do is do the same thing you did here, but instead of using these numbers, use these new numbers. Use those first differences to find the second. Just to get you started, I will do 1. So 6 minus 2 is 4. 6 minus 2 is 4. Please do the rest of these, and I encourage you to pause it now. All right, so hopefully you gave that a shot. I actually paused it, and hopefully I fixed the thickness of the pen. So for the next one, 10 minus 6 is 4. 14 minus 10 is 4. 18 minus 14 is 4. So hopefully you notice that these second differences are all the same. These second differences are all 4. Now that doesn't mean it's linear. The first differences have to be the same for that. But your lesson for today basically is this. If the second differences are all the same, it's quadratic. Let's fill in this note here. All right, the first part is the grade 9 part. I've said it a few times. If the first differences of a relationship are constant or the same, that relationship is linear. If the second differences of a relationship are constant or the same, that relationship is quadratic. And now finally for a little bonus. If the second differences are 0, what's that relationship? Well, I'll just tell you that it's linear. And I want to make that make sense. So let's go back to this one. So here's the first differences. They're all 10. If you did the second differences, you would find that 10 minus 10 is 0, 10 minus 10 is 0, 10 minus 10 is 0. So those second differences would all be 0. That's the least important part of today. The most important part of today is this. It's a very important concept for this unit and at least one more unit in this course. Okay, so that's today's lesson in a nutshell. I've got 4 examples on the paper for you to try. I'm going to do one with you because there are some nasty negatives in there. And you haven't dealt with the negatives very much today, so I'm going to do that with you now. And then the video will be over, and I would like you to try the practice on your own, and I will post the solutions to it later on, not right away, because I want you to try it. All right, so first differences. -9. Oh, man. I wonder. Oh, I have to change the width for every single color. That's annoying. All right, so -9 minus. Now watch this. -12. That double negative is back. We keep seeing that. A lot of you are going to want to bracket this probably. I don't really care if you bracket it or not. We know that minus means plus. So -9 minus -12. Let's try that. -9 minus 12 negative is 3. So this is 3. And then we have -6 minus -9 is also 3. And then we've got -3 minus -6. That's 3. 0 minus -3 is 3. Remember, you can bracket these if you want, whatever makes sense to you. And then we've got 3 minus 0. That's a nice one. It's 3. Okay, the first differences are all the same. Let's do the second. 3 minus 3 is 0. 3 minus 3 is 0. 3 minus 3 is 0. And 3 minus 3 is 0. And then on your sheet, it says just like this. The data is linear, quadratic, or neither. It is linear because the first differences are all the same. Let's see if it recognizes that handwriting. The first differences are all the game. They're not a game, they're the same. All right, so let me go here. Same. Cool. There are 3 questions. That's your homework. This video is 12 minutes and 30 seconds long. The questions should not take you long. We're starting slow. There will be more to come, obviously. But please try these other 3 questions, and I will post the solutions when I post the next lesson. I'll likely post lessons Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then you'll have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday without anything new, and then I'll post again. Now, I am posting this one on Sunday, but it's meant for Monday. If you do it early, good for you. All right, so I'm going to post that, folks. Good luck. Please email me with any questions. If you need to set up a phone call with me or a video chat, I'm happy to do any of that stuff. We'll get through this weird time together. Okay, thank you, folks. Bye for now.